motion comes a pay cut, and that's not even related to being in a commission position. That's just in a regular position as well. Representative Omar.
I think a commissioned position is very different than what we are discussing today.
Representative Omar, I mentioned the fact that it's not just limited to commission. It's also for anybody that is demoted. So you can be in a regular job, not part of a commission situation, but if you're failing to perform, you'll get demoted, and then you get a pay cut with it. So I just want to make sure that that's clear. So I know Representative O'Neill has that experience having owned a business, and so I think she was speaking to that.
The hearing room was quiet until one question from Representative Ilan Omar lit the fuse. What followed next was a moment so unexpectedly hilarious, so painfully revealing, that members of Congress struggled to contain their reactions. Laughter rippled across the room as experienced business owners delivered one reality check after another, turning the hearing into a masterclass on basic economics. Viewers around the world later joked that Omar had, quite literally, been sent back to school. Before the details unfold, the narrator encourages viewers hearing this story to hit the subscribe button for more breakdowns of wild congressional moments. In the end, the hearing became far more than a simple policy discussion. It became a full-blown reminder of how the real world works outside government walls. Omar attempted to challenge the idea of performance-based pay, but every business owner present countered her with undeniable lived experience.
Thank you, Chair. Representative O'Neill, I'm just wondering, I was a union member for a long time, and I've also gotten an opportunity to work in the private sector. And I'm curious to know if you know of any employer that has a provision where they decrease pay for employees. I find that a little strange, and so I just wanted to know where that thought comes from, and if you know where an employee gets their pay decreased.
Representative O'Neill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, I was a business owner. I recently sold my share, so I don't own it anymore, but there are plenty of businesses out there, especially those that depend on employees' productivity, like I was in the trades. So I owned a company that was a tile setting company, and if we didn't get out there and do the work, and if I didn't have highly productive employees, they were paid based on their productivity. So if they had issues, it is very possible that their pay would reflect those issues. If they were on probation for something, for some sort of violation, that could be coordinated with a pay reduction. It's something that businesses do all the time, and it could be the step before someone is actually fired. So it's an important thing, and it gets people's attention, when they see it in their paycheck that their performance does not meet the standard.
Representative Omar.
Hudson, I think did you have something?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Hudson? Was there a question for Mr. Hudson?
No, I think he was saying that he wanted to add something, so I didn't know if he had something to add.
Mr. Hudson, is there a response to the question? Do you have a response to that question?
Madam Chair, yes,
Are you
ma'am.
saying that you aren't aware of any businesses that decrease pay? Because that was the question.
Madam Chair, I think what Chair O'Neill perhaps could be referring to, there are some instances where the pay structure is different. So for an example, she had indicated that she had come out of the tile industry. I'm not sure if these were commissioned employees who may have been on like an 80-20 split. In that instance, there is a situation where a pay might be reduced. Or if we have a supervisor who perhaps had a performance improvement issue or a behavioral concern, and we demoted this supervisor, that is an instance where pay might be decreased. But just an employee who has not been under some sort of performance improvement program, having their pay reduced, I've never heard of that.
Well, Mr. Hudson, I think Representative Neal knows exactly what she says. And I think we've had a little conversation back here when the question was asked. I know Representative Uglem, do you want to speak to that point?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
The contrast between theory and reality grew sharper with every response she received. Members tried explaining gently at first, but the more she insisted, the funnier the exchanges became. Laughter quietly spread through the room as the private sector delivered one clear truth after another. It was obvious that this wasn't hostility, just pure disbelief at how disconnected her question was from everyday work life. The room watched as O'Neill, Hudson, and Uglam laid out a masterclass in basic economics she couldn't refute. By the end, the moment had transformed into an unforgettable highlight reel of logic overpowering confusion. Viewers walked away knowing exactly which side understood real jobs and real consequences, and for many watching, this hearing became the perfect example of why experience still matters in Congress.